Hey guys, Peek here again. I'm back with another Cypher Camera video. This one is going to be for patch 1.08. You will see my best cameras that I like the most on Ascent, Bind, Split and Haven. While some of the old cameras that I've used are the same spots, it's much easier spots this time, and we have some new cameras as well that are a bit more hidden. I removed the one from Bind Spawn, for example, because it got patched out. It was busted. But we have some new busted ones, and hope you guys will enjoy them. Hit that subscribe button and leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Also, don't forget to head over to twitch.tv/gotopeak. It's my live stream. I go live every weekday at 5 PM CST, and you get to see what it looks like when I play Cypher, and you can ask questions in the moment, anything, and I'll do my best to help. Hope you guys have a great day. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care. Ascent A Site. So here we have a new camera. This one is hidden by the back of A Site here, and you place it behind the cover, and now you can see enemies coming in from main as well as garden, and it's very useful with one-way smokes. Next up, we have the cameras that I showed you in the last video, but this time you jump from rafters instead of the generator. And you see the same thing. This one is a bit further down, and if you want to place it further up, then you gotta get onto the generator, but it's still usable. Next up, A Lobby. Typical camera that you can place like this. You see if enemies coming up early to peek or if they go for wine. And then we have a new camera. This one is for attackers, submitted to me by a viewer named Enrico. So you jump up here, clear that angle, and then aim straight down and aim to that dot. Right there. Turn around and now use the UI in order to line up your crosshair. And then when you jump, that's when you place the camera at the top of the jump. And now you have this vision. You see all of A Site almost, and it's a really strong camera. Then we have a new/old camera for mid. This one, I've used it many times before my streams, but I think it's about time to put it in a video. I found that it's very useful to use this one if you want to go for a deep angle into mid, and you can see uppers, you can see enemies rotating market, you can see if they go spawn, and even catwalk. Keep in mind, you can't see enemies back there. Next up, same camera mid as usual. This is a favorite of mine. If you don't have time to go up on the wall, well then you can go for this. Very good versus rushes. From the other side, you can see into catwalk, you can see early aggression in mid. You don't see market, so keep that in mind. Then we have B main. Jump up there. Now you can see market as well as early aggression. If it's late into the round and you're worried about enemies setting up on site or being in market, and you want greater vision, then you can go for this one. And now you can see enemies slightly in on B site as well as market. Then we have this one that's very good versus enemies that are setting up on B, and now you can see enemies past the choke. Keep in mind that it's sometimes easy for enemies to shoot the camera because it's a common camera, but it works. Then from B to garage, well, we have this one. You can cover a bit more with the pillar if you move it to the right, but it does its job and you can see early aggression. Then we have one even more aggressive. Usually you end up trading your camera for this because you get the good information. However, if enemies are there, they're gonna shoot it. My favorite camera for B is that camera. It makes it so that enemies need to walk in order to shoot it. Very good for one-way smokes. Here's an alternative in case that camera isn't very useful for you. You place the camera up here and you get roughly the same vision. Then we have a retake camera. You just jump, place it, and then you see all of this. Then we have a good post-plant camera, this one here. Sometimes you use it on defense as well, but it's usually if I play for one-way smokes back here in spawn. However, you see enemies coming, and you just prepare. Then for mid, this is my go-to camera. You jump up, place the camera, and that's it. Now you have this great vision of a mid. And last but not least, the camera from here. You can do this one from many places, but I like this one on attack because you have all of this vision that you can clear with. Let's do some bind. Get up on the box, step to the right as much as possible, and then aim to the right there. And now you place the camera. And it's a bit covered, but it's useful because it helps hiding the camera. Then we have one for sight, but also a tiny bit into B along. You place it on the corner here. You spam click and then slowly approach the corner, and it's gonna land. And now you see sight as well as a tiny bit along. From the same box that you stand on, you place the camera here, and now you can see above long. This is an angle that enemies have a very difficult time clearing because they need to aim straight up and turn around, which is when you can shoot them. An alternative one is this one here. You can see window as well as a tiny bit more into long. And then if you place it next to the window, a bit more on window but less on long. 3 very good defensive cameras. For B long, I place the camera on the metal. If I see enemies, I take it back and then I place it somewhere else. I never really leave it here because it gets shot. And it allows me to get 2 cameras in one match. Then next up, here. This one is good if enemies are rushing along or if they're just slow pushing. For attackers, this one is my go-to camera. You can tag enemies, you can see if they're pushing, you can help a teammate peek. Very good. For B hookah, this one here is my go-to camera. There are many other spots in the roof that you can place the camera on, but this one is my favorite because you have very good vision. If you want to play aggressive in window, use this camera here, and then you can place it on different heights, but this height is usually the best. Wait for enemies, and then go around. If you want to attack here, and you want to clear window, use this camera here, and now you can smoke on one side and clear the other. If you already have cleared that angle, place the camera on the lamp there, and now you can see enemies around the corners very easily, as well as on sight. If we move to A short, this one here, typical camera, you can see heaven, sight, close, cubby. Then we have one for the back of A short. By spawn, if enemies are going for teleport, place it here, and then nobody will be able to hide from you in this area. One of my favorite cameras for attacking on bind is this car camera. You place it from bathroom, and now you can see all of this vision on sight and help your teammates, as well as do solo pushes. For A defense, I've started using this camera a bit more, which sees into bathroom, A short, and lamps. This allows me to play very defensive, and I can have a lot of control. Next up is this camera here in the backside. Very good vision on both bathroom and A short. Next up we have a post plant camera that you place very easily there, and now you have full control of the backside. Let's not forget about the short camera for defenders. You place it here, you see enemies in heaven, cubby, sight. And even if you leave the site, with camera here, you have pretty good vision. Next up is the smoke camera. You see a tiny bit into bathroom, you see their heads, lamps, and then also A short. The last camera for bind, the solar panels. Very good info, but very exposed as well. So keep that in mind. Enemies can see it, but you can see enemies too. Let's do some haven. I always go for this retake camera when I need to retake A. I take camera with me, now you can see enemies everywhere on site almost. Very good info. Then if I'm defending A, I go up in the window and place my camera up here. It's a very strong camera because it has very good info, also blends in with the background a lot. The black rocks, the redness, the smoke, the fire, etc. And if you want to go for even more hidden camera, place it on the rock there. It has less vision, but it's more difficult to spot. Next up, I skip the camera far up there, and instead I go up on the truck or the boxes, and you place the camera up here. You jump, aim there, and now you have roughly the same vision as the old camera that went super far up. If you want, you can place it even further back, and it allows more survivability, but less vision on long. Then we have one for long that you place on the corner here. It's a bit more defensive, but it allows you to hold really far back, or if you want to sit in heaven. Then we have an aggressive camera that can see if enemies are rushing, if they're holding along, or if you want to push. From the attacker's perspective, if you want to use this camera for short without showing yourself too long, place it there. And then we have B. This is an idle camera. You place it there, and now you can see enemies moving in. Usually you let enemies take B, then you retake. Then we have one from mid that's very sneaky. You place it up here. You gotta take over mid, so keep that in mind, but you see enemies pushing up B and garage. If you for some reason want to hold your camera in garage, I would recommend placing it there, and it allows you to see enemies moving in without them really having a vision on the camera yet. When you have no way to peek into garage without risking your life, then go with this camera. And now, keep in mind that you don't see the left side of window, so that's what you have to clear yourself. If you want to go on C site, go up on the wood, and now you can place the camera on the corner here. Very good for using one ways, or if you just want to see enemies pushing in long. If you want to see deep into long, then you can go for this camera. You have very good info on site as well, and it allows you to hold very defensively, and you have tiny vision on garage too. An alternative is the one to the left. It allows you to see deeper into long, but less when they run up. It's a bit more defensive in that way. And then the really defensive camera is this one. You see enemies pushing in right as they enter. And it's a good retake camera too. And the ultimate sneaky camera is in the corner here. Very far up, very difficult to spot because it's not a typical spot you look at. And last but not least, we have the fire camera. Blends in with the fire, the red background and the smoke. Very nice. Let's do some split, starting with B site. When I want to hold for B tower, I go with this camera. It's a very awkward angle for enemies to shoot at, and it's very good for you to aggress with. Then we have one that you place after the buy round, and this one allows you to see if enemies are pushing in or if they're rotating from mid to garage. It's a very situational camera, but it has a lot of good use, and it's very difficult to spot. Plus, you can get it back. Then we have my favorite camera, very far up on B site. Almost everyone knows about this, but it's still a good camera because it makes the enemies have to move in order to shoot it. If you're playing for the choke and you don't want to have the far up camera on B, well then this is a good alternative because you see rafters and the choke. A more aggressive and also sneaky spot is this one. It's a bit more difficult to place it, but the vision is worth it. You see a tiny bit in rafters and the choke. And you can also hold both angles at the same time. When I want to go aggressive in garage, or I'm expecting a rush, I go with this one. It allows me to see enemies very early on and make a decision if I want to push or not. For mid, I go with that tree camera. It allows you to see spots that enemies usually hold in when they're defending. You can also do this one from the other side, in sewers. You just turn around and place it there. Now it's time for A site. Jump up here on the boxes, place the camera on the lamp. Now you can see all of A tower. Very good. If you don't want to have A tower and instead you want to see A main, well, this camera here does just that. Sees A main, tower, and screens. For aggressive vision, I always go with this camera here. This camera sees aggressive pushes. You can see if anyone is boosting and if they are coming from screens. If you're an attacker and you're afraid of enemies attacking you, well, go for this camera. You place it during the buy round, turn, and now you see enemies moving in. If you want more vision, then I recommend placing the camera on the gray block. It allows you to see main, ramps, and heaven. And now you can push with a teammate. And that's all guys. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.